must always bear that in mind. Then all steps used in calculations should be shown in detail. They should be shown in detail. Then you may use a non-programmable calculator, which is allowed. Then also stick to the mark allocation for each specific question. Then you are reminded to write neatly and legibly. Then if we look at this table, it has breakdown of the topics which we are going to look at. Section 8 mainly consists of short questions which make up to 40 marks. Then we also have map work and tour planning and foreign exchange together. Then we also have tourism, attractions, culture and heritage tourism, and marketing, where we'll be looking at world icons. We'll also look at world heritage sites which are found in South Africa. Section D, which is made up of 30 marks, it actually consists of our tourism sectors, sustainable and responsible tourism. Then the final topics will be found in Section E, where you look at domestic, regional, and international tourism. Then you also look at communication and customer care. Then the total for this paper, the total mark allocation for this paper would be 200 marks. So in tourism, always bear in mind that you only write one paper, which consists of a total of 200 marks. Now let's move on to Section A, which consists of short questions. Section A, the instruction reads, various options are provided as possible answers to the following questions. Choose the answer and write only the letter A up to D next to the question numbers. For example, 1.1 to 1.1.20 in the answer book. So let's go to the first question, 1.1.1. The tourism concepts which appear in an itinerary describing the image below. So in other words, they are asking for your own interpretation of the image which is below. What concept is represented in the image below? All right, as you can see, we do have an image of a person who is actually involved in mountain climbing, or you can call it hiking. He's actually involved in mountain climbing. So we consider that to be an activity. We consider that to be an activity. So our correct answer for that particular question would be D, which is an activity. Then moving from them, we go to question 1.1.2, whereby you are required to the difference between jet lag and jet fatigue. So you are supposed to distinguish between these two concepts. What is jet lag? What is jet fatigue? All right, let's look at jet lag first. Let me explain a little bit more on jet lag. Jet lag, you get it after traveling a long distance and you cross many time zones. So it involves the crossing of time zones. Then in addition to that, when you travel from west to east, when you travel from west to east, you get jet lag. Then on the other hand, let's explain what jet fatigue is. When you only travel long hours. So jet fatigue is caused by a situation whereby you fly for a long period of time. So let's look at our options which we have then. The option which best matches the descriptions given above is actually option B. Jet lag is tiredness due to crossing many time zones. When you travel from east to west or from west to east, you actually cross many time zones. And jet fatigue is actually tiredness, which results from a long-haul flight. So our correct answer, which matches the description given above, will be letter B. So letter B is the correct answer for that one. Now let's move on to 1.1.3. Tourists now have the benefit of obtaining their foreign currency through this online method. This topic, this question actually falls under the topic method. So we are interested in the second image. Then if you look at the third image, it is actually written London. So we are also going to use of the second image. Then the question requires us to calculate the time difference between London and New York. So when we look at New York, when it is 9 o'clock in New York, it will be 2 o'clock in the afternoon in London. So the method or the formula which you can use is you subtract 1400 minus 900. 1400 minus 900. Then we put our 0 there, 0 there. Then 14 minus 9, obviously it will give you 5. So let's look at the options which we are given. 5 hours is will be our answer, which appears on letter C. So when you're given a sum like this one, you're supposed to subtract the two given times. In London, we are given 1400 hours. Then in New York, we are given 900 hours. So you say 14 minus 9, then you reach your final answer, which is 5 hours. So that is the correct answer then. Now let's move on to 1.1.5. The term used to describe the trend shown in the graph below. All right, you come across different graphs in your paper. So you need to know the topic which you are dealing with specifically then. So if you look at this topic is actually foreign exchange. It is actually foreign exchange. Then foreign exchange refers to the business of transacting from one currency to another. So here we are given on the other axis, we have the rand versus the US dollar. Then we are also given on the other axis, we have various dates which have been provided them. The date starts from 19 January up until 19 August. So as you can see on the line graph, we do have changes. There's a time when the graph will be high and also the time when the graph will be low. Then the question reads, the term used to describe the trend. So our keyword there would be trend. What trend is shown in the graph below? As you can see in the graph, on the 19th of January, one US dollar was trading for 14.5. Then let's move on to February 19. It started trading at 13.5. So I think you can see the difference between the value of the US dollar on these different dates. So the correct term which we use in describing the above trend would be daily fluctuation. Why do we choose daily fluctuation as the correct answer? If you can look at the trend, there's a time when the US dollar is worth more, then there's a time when the US dollar is actually worth less. So we actually call that currency fluctuation. Currencies, they fluctuate on a daily basis. We call that currency fluctuation, the change in the value of a currency. Now let's move on to the next question. 1.1.6. The picture below shows an ancient icon. So this topic is actually world or global icons. So the picture which is below, it shows an ancient. The word ancient simply refers to something which was built a long time ago. So it's an icon which was actually built a long time ago. So we need to identify an icon which is given there. All right, let's try to eliminate the wrong answers then. It cannot be the Berlin Wall, because the Berlin Wall was only built after the First World War. So the Berlin Wall cannot be an ancient icon. Let's move on to B. The correct answer would be, it actually shows the Great Wall of China. That picture is actually a representation of the Great Walls of China, which date back to several thousands of years BC. So it fits the description that the walls are actually an ancient icon, because they were built several thousands of years before the Christian era. Before the Christian era. So our correct answer will be, those are the Great Walls of China, or that is the Great Wall of China. Then it cannot be the Sydney Opera House, because obviously the Sydney Opera House, it's a recent structure which actually was built in Australia. Then it does not represent the Great Pyramids of Giza, because even looking at the shape is not anywhere near a pyramid. So our correct answer would be the Great Wall of China. 1.1.7, Ushaka Marine World caters for people with disabilities by. This question actually falls under the factors which contribute to the success of a tourist destination. So we do have 8 factors which contributes to the success of a tourist destination. So out of the options which we are given, we are supposed to choose one which matches the catering of people with disabilities. Factors which contribute to the success of a destination. So the fact that Ushaka Marine provides or caters for people with disabilities, it's how do they do that? How do they cater for the needs of people with disabilities? They actually do that by providing wheelchairs at the entrance. They actually provide wheelchairs for people who are handicapped or people who are wheelchair bound. So they are provided with wheelchairs so that they can navigate the attraction, or they can move around the attraction. So the correct answer there for 1.1.7 would be A, providing wheelchairs at the entrance. All right, let's eliminate the wrong answers there. Terminating the services of incompetent staff members. That's actually not part of the factor whereby the needs of people with disabilities are catered for. That is actually a different factor, which is actually sustainable and responsible management plans, or you can say efficient or ethical behavior of staff members. Then ensuring that all tourists have clean drinking water. That borders more on general safety and health. Then using sign language for the benefit of the visually challenged tourist. This one wouldn't make sense, because sign language and it does not apply to visually challenged tourists. So obviously B, C, and D will be eliminated as wrong answers in that particular case. Now let's move on to 1.1.8. Declaring a new World Heritage site in South Africa will. All right, this topic actually falls under World Heritage sites, of which you are aware that South Africa actually currently has 10 World Heritage sites. So if an 11th World Heritage site is declared in South Africa, what will be the benefit for the local communities? All right, let's eliminate the wrong answers then. All right, if you look at A, there are problems with A. Eliminate all poverty and unemployment in the local community. This one is not actually possible for poverty to be completely eliminated. So obviously, this one won't work. It's not possible. It would give South Africa negative word of mouth advertising in the international community. Actually, it will do the opposite. It would actually give South Africa positive word of mouth advertising in the international community. So let's eliminate B, or the fact that they used the term negative it becomes, or it disqualifies that particular answer. Now let's look at 1.1.8. It will bring tourism infrastructure development to the local community. If you look at this answer, it is actually realistic. When a World Heritage Site is declared in a particular country, it would also bring tourism infrastructure such as better hotel, which is actually sustainable and responsible management plans, or you can say efficient or ethical behavior of staff members. Then ensuring that all tourists have clean drinking borders more on general safety and health. Then using sign language for the benefit of the visually challenged tourists. This and it does not apply to visually challenged tourists. So obviously B, C, and wrong answers in that particular case. Now let's move on to 1.1.8. Declaring a new World Heritage Site in South Africa will. All right, this topic actually falls under, we're aware that South Africa actually currently has 10 world, an 11th World Heritage Site is declared in South Africa. What will be the benefit for the local communities? All right, let's eliminate the wrong answers then. All right, if you look at A, there are problems with A. Eliminate all poverty and unemployment in the it's not. Then also even what services which take tourists to the actual World Heritage Sites will be built in that particular community. So C can be accepted as a correct answer. Then let's look at lastly at D. Cause other World Heritage Sites to close down. This is actually something which is negative, and so that actually disqualifies that particular answer. It won't cause other World Heritage Sites to close down. Actually, it would have an opposite effect. It would actually surrounding World Heritage So when you are transacting internationally, obviously, your credit cards cannot be damaged because you are transacting online. So you are not doing it in a physical way. So obviously, there is no physical damage. So we are eliminating A. Then personal information can be stolen when using a cell phone. There is a high chance that personal information can actually be stolen as you are transacting online. So B is an acceptable option. Now let's look at why we are rejecting the other options. Personal information can be stolen when paying for goods, paying cash for goods and services. The word cash actually eliminates this particular option, because remember the question is saying online. So online, there is no space for you to use what? Cash. Then let's look at D. Personal information can be stolen using by check. Obviously, we are not making any use of checks, and in any case, checks are no longer in use as they were back in the day. So the two words check and cash, they disqualify option C and option D. So we are only left with B as our correct answer. All right. 1.1.20. According to the statistics in the spent column below, visitors are the biggest spenders when visiting South Africa. Let's look at the table in detail. It actually reads on the heading, South African spend and arrivals in 2019. Then there are different regions which appear in different columns there. We have Africa, America, Asia, and the Pacific, Australasia, Europe, the Middle East. Then there's also the grand total, which is listed below there. Then in the second column, you can actually come across the amount of rands spent in each by each region. So when you look at Africa there, actually 34 billion was spent by travelers from Africa. Then we had 6 million arrivals. Then if you look at America, we have 11 billion. Then we have Asia in the Pacific, 4 billion. Then Australasia, 2 billion. Europe, 30 billion. Then just by merely looking at this, you can see that in the spent column, the highest figure, or our highest figure, will be the amount of rands spent by tourists from Africa, from the African region. So our correct answer will be C. The tourists from Africa were the biggest spenders, because remember, the question requires us to identify the biggest spenders. So the highest amount of money spent, it's actually originated from Africa, which is 34 billion. And if you look at the other regions, there is no other region which goes beyond 34, or which reaches near 34, except for Europe, which is around 30. But 30, remember, it's still below 34. So the highest number of, or the biggest number of spenders, they actually originated from the African region. So that is multiple choice. Now let's look at the next question, which is question 1.2. Choose one word or term from the list below to complete each of the following sentences. Write only the word or term next to the question numbers 1.2.1 to 1.2.5 in the answer book, e.g. 1.26 bank buying rate. So we have various options which are provided then the question reads, the first question reads, many Dutch tourists stay at the ski resort in the Black Forest. All right, we need to highlight the key terms in the question. So the first thing is that these tourists are involved in skiing where in the Black Forest. Normally skiing, it's actually associated with adventure tourists. So from the box there, we are taking adventure. Skiing is actually an activity undertaken by adventure tourists. So we are choosing skiing as adventure as our correct answer for that particular question. So I'm going to write it right next to the question. Skiing is done by adventure tourists. It is actually done by adventure tourists. Then the second question reads 1.2.2, easy access to an attraction results in a what experience? All right, easy access, when tourists find an attraction to be easy, it is actually a positive thing. So if you look at the options which have been provided there, we do have positive. So we need to write positive as our correct answer. Easy access is actually a good thing. An attraction should be easily accessible. It should be accessible by different modes of transport. It should be accessible by air, by land, or even by water transport. So easy access is a positive thing. So from our box there, we are taking positive. Then the next question reads, the Beaverton-Makonjwa mountains are located in. So in other words, they need the location of these mountains, which are actually a World Heritage Site found in South Africa. So if you look at the Beaverton-Makonjwa mountains, they are found in Mpumalanga province. They are believed to be the oldest mountains in the world, which are found in the Mpumalanga province. Found in the Mpumalanga province. Then the next question reads 1.2.4. A foreign travel agent attends Africa's travel indaba as a to find a newly opened luxury client accommodation. So the fact that this one is a travel agent, then why is he traveling to the travel indaba? To find a newly opened luxury client accommodation. Why is he doing that? He is going there in the capacity of a buyer. He's actually going there as a buyer because he's trying to find. The fact that he's trying to what? To find. He's going there as a buyer. So our correct answer would be buyer. Then sheets of ice form over the what? In winter. Over which attraction? Sheets of ice actually form over the Niagara Falls, which are located in Canada. They actually fall over the Niagara Falls, which are located in Canada, and which are one of the one of the celebrated world icons. So these are our answers again. Number one, adventure. The second one, positive. The third one, Mpumalanga. The fourth one, buyer. Then the fifth one is actually the Niagara Falls. Then now let's move on to the next question, 1.3. The instructions reads, choose the correct words from those given in brackets. Write only the words next to the question numbers, 1.3.1 to 1.3.5 in the answer book. For example, 1.3.6 passport. All right, 1.3.1 reads, Robben Island is classified as a natural or cultural World Heritage Site. All right. The first thing which we need to do when we are choosing an option for this particular question, we need to know a description of Robben Island. Robben Island, in as much as it is an island, but the most significant thing then, it is the history which is associated with the island. It is of historical significance. So the fact that it is of historical significance, we are going to take the cultural aspect. It is classified as a cultural World Heritage Site. It is classified as a cultural World Heritage Site. The next question reads 1.3.2. An increase in volume or incentives refers to the higher visitor numbers to South Africa. An increase in volume. volumes, they actually refer to the number of visitors. In tourism marketing, when we talk about volumes, basically, we are talking about the number of people who came to a particular country or who came and visited a particular destination. So volume refers to visitors. Volumes and visitors, they go hand in hand. So the correct answer would be volume, will actually be volume. 1.3.3. Successful tourist attractions in South Africa get their products mainly from. This is a question which falls under the topic sustainable and responsible tourism. One of the requirements of tourism business to practice sustainable business practices is to source products locally instead of buying globally. They are encouraged to source products locally. So our correct word there would be local suppliers. Then the next question, it is something to do with UNESCO, which is the United Nations Educational and United Nations Educational Scientific Cultural Organization. So which criteria do they use? They actually use the Roman numbering system. Instead of using the metric system, they actually use Roman numerals. They use the Roman numbering system. Then 1.3.5, a question which is something to do with world icons. The city of Venice was built on many islands. It is a city which was built on many islands, which explains why in Venice, when you want to move around, you actually move around using water transport instead of using road transport. So it was actually built on many, or you can call them several hills. 1.4, choose a term in column B that matches the description of the 21st century technological innovations used to enhance tourist experiences in column B. So we are only going to write the letter A to F next to the question numbers 1.4.1 to 1.4.5 in the answer book. So the first question reads, a digital experience of destination to be visited. What is that? So from the options which you are given on the right-hand side, that will be a virtual tour. A virtual tour. It's when you actually play videos of a place where you intend to visit. It is known as a virtual tour. Then the next question reads 1.4.2, using the World Wide Web and a smartphone to make online payments and bookings for multiple tourism products. That's an example of using the internet. The World Wide Web and the internet are synonymous. They are one and the same thing. Then when you enter your hotel room using your fingerprint, when you enter your hotel room using your fingerprint, that's an example of biometric scanning. Biometric scanning would be, that's an example of biometric scanning. It's not only restricted to fingerprints, it can also be used through the facial recognition technology as well, whereby you get access to your hotel room by facial recognition. Then a required electronic travel document. A required electronic travel document. Whenever you're traveling to a foreign country, you must carry a passport and a visa as well. So in this case, a required electronic travel document would be our e-visa, an electronic visa, which is shortened as e-visa. Then we also have a safe and secure room cleaning service in a hotel. That is in the age of technology now, they're using what we call robotic housekeeping. That is an example of robotic housekeeping. So these are the options which or these are the answers for the different 5 questions which appear there. A digital experience of a destination to be visited, that's a virtual tour. Using the World Wide Web and a smartphone, that's an example of how you can use the internet. Then biometric scanning, it answers question 1.4.2. Then a required electronic travel document, that's an e-visa. Then a cleaning service, that's robotic housekeeping for you. All right, now let's move on to the next question. Let's move on to the next question, which will be question. Okay, now let's go to question 1.5. All right, it reads, traveling in South African borders has increased the risk of COVID-19 infection and transmission. The Maharaja family in the picture below will be traveling to Durban, from Durban to Johannesburg for their annual holiday. They will consider the safest mode of transport option in order to prevent the risk of infection for their family. The cost of the transport and the time taken to travel is not an issue. It is all about safety of the family. Select 5 transport options below. That will be the safest for Maharaja family. Write only the letters A to H next to the question numbers in the answer book. Now let's look at the picture which appears there. A new view on leisure travel. What type of transport should you use? Travelers will make decisions based on health and hygiene protocols when choosing a mode of transport. As you are aware, the whole world was under lockdown because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So whenever we are choosing transport mode, we are supposed to take all those COVID protocols in mind. We must bear them in mind. We must choose transport which is actually safe, just like what is indicated there. So any decision which you are making there is based on health and also hygiene. You'll find that there are some types of transport which are suitable for health and hygiene protocols. So the first choice which we are going to take them, it is a hired car if it is available. A hired car, yes, the advantage that it actually provides you, it provides you with privacy. Then when you are traveling in a hired car, it simply means that you are not exposed to several people who might pass on the disease or the COVID-19 virus to you. Then still in that particular column, we can also recommend air travel. Air travel is it also comes highly recommended. So we can also take air travel because before you get on a flight, they actually follow COVID-19 protocols, and air travel is not as congested as other forms of transport. Then another alternative form of transport, we also need to consider where they are coming from. We can also recommend them to use their own transport. They can actually drive all the way from Johannesburg to Durban in their own transport. They can actually travel from Johannesburg to Durban. Then, in addition to that, we can take also Shosholoza Mail. We can also take Shosholoza Mail because, yes, there is indeed a Shosholoza Mail train which runs between Johannesburg and Durban. So a Shosholoza Mail can be an option. Then, in addition to that, to make them 5, we can also take the sleeper coach. Sleeper coaches, these are your buses which are suitable for families and which are also comparatively safer. Then now let's eliminate the forms of transport which don't work. We cannot use the cow train. It's not possible to use the Gautrain, simply because there is no Gautrain which there is no Gautrain between Durban and Johannesburg. So this one will be out. We are eliminating it. Then let's also go to C. C, you cannot travel. Remember, we are traveling on land. You cannot travel on land between Johannesburg and Durban using a luxury cruise liner. It's not possible. Then we do not have trams in operation in South Africa. We do not have trams in operation in South Africa. Then we also eliminate micro light aircraft. So our options, I'm going to take you through our options once more. So a hired car, yes. Air travel, yes, it's possible. On car self-drive, yes. Then Shosholo-Zamel, yes. Then sleeper coaches, yes. So these are the accepted answers for that particular question. That is the last question on section A. That is the last question on section A. Now we are moving on to the next section, which is called map work and tour planning and foreign exchange. Read the information below and answer the questions that follow. Words that are marked with an asterisk are explained in the glossary next to the page. So we do have the new tourism trends, which are the order of the day. Insta travel. Today, travelers can instantly broadcast their fun tourism experiences to the masses via Instagram. A new tourism trend is emerging where tourists want to visit these destinations. They have been seen posted on Instagram. One such place is the little game tucked away in South Africa called the Old McDoodoo's Farm, which is also known as at Old underscore McDoodoo's Farm in the Western Cape. Then my story. I am Bray, had a Spanish national. I live in Madrid. I'm a celebrity vlogger and an Instagram influencer. Insta travel is my favorite thing to do. So follow me as I would travel to Old McDoodoo's Farm near Cape Town. My flights depart on at 3 o'clock on 10 November 2021. I don't even require a visa, which is actually a good thing. I'll stay for 4 nights and return to Madrid on 15 November. So she's going to stay for 4 nights. We need to highlight that as well. She's going to stay for 4 nights. Then I'll travel economy class and stay in one of the Airstream trailers. It sounds so exciting. I cannot wait to share about my trip in South Africa on my Insta post on Instagram. Then about us, McDoodoo's Farm is a caravan park and part designer farm lodge. This little farm located in a beautiful mountainous part of the Elgin Valley near Cape Town is a perfect place to unwind. Old McDoodoo's Farm offers unique accommodations such as Airstream trailer units that are permanent caravans on the farm which are charged at, let's also highlight this, will be important in answering our question, which are charged at 1,895 per person, as well as comfortable glamping style tents. Just an hour out of Cape Town and set amongst apple trees, Old McDoodoo's Farm offers open spaces, mountain park. It offers open spaces, mountain paths, a lake, and plenty of outdoor activities, which is actually a good thing. Only a delicious farmhouse breakfast. Enjoy a delicious farmhouse breakfast in the restaurant, served daily from 6 to 10, or choose to take a prepacked breakfast on an early morning hike up one of the many mountain paths. There are open spaces to wander about, appreciate nature, record and share your videos. Then on page 13 there, we see the outside view of the trailers. Airstream trailers These look like caravans. Usually they are fully furnished. As you can see, they do have a bed. They also look very, very luxurious. Then we have the glossary of terms. The celebrity vlogger, a person who posts a video on social media platforms. It is a large following. Then we also have a celebrity influencer, is someone who has the ability to convince people to follow their opinions and behavior on social media platforms. Then Insta travel with the purpose of taking photos or videos to post on Instagram. Insta posts, it's any post which you find on Instagram. Airline streamers, an American brand of caravans that has all the luxuries of a hotel room. Then glamping, that's luxury accommodation in tents. So the first question reads 2.2.1.1. Complete the sentence. Bray is a type of tourist. So we are being asked, what type of tourist is she? So if you look at her profile, we need to go back and look at her profile so that you can understand, we can get a correct answer. So the first thing, she is a celebrity vlogger and an Instagram influencer. So when we go back to our question, we have several options there. We have several options. So the first option which we can write, she is actually a celebrity vlogger. Celebrity vlogger, it's accepted. This can be accepted as the first answer. Then in addition to that, she's an Instagram influencer. Influencer. It's accepted as a correct answer. Then in addition to that, she is also a leisure tourist. She's going to the farm for leisure. So we can also indicate that she's a leisure tourist. Then she also enjoys adventure. She's an adventure tourist. She is also an adventure tourist. So all those are possible options for the same question. Then you can also say that she is actually an Insta traveler. She is an Insta traveler. She is an Insta traveler, which simply means that she travels with the purpose of taking videos or photos to post on Instagram. Then now let's go to the next question. Read one reason. We need one reason for your answer. Give one particular reason for your answer. All right, there are several reasons which you can give, but for now, we are only going to give one reason for this particular answer. All right, she uses social media. She actually uses social media to influence people. And people's opinions. She actually uses social media to influence people's opinion. Then in addition to that, still on the same question, you can also say that she is adventurous. She is actually adventurous by nature. She is adventurous by nature. She likes going on adventure. Or you can say that she uses social media extensively. She uses social media. She uses social media to share her videos, to share her travel videos. She likes using social media to share her travel videos. Then in addition to that, you can add any other responses. But remember, our question only requires us to provide one reason, so we won't spend too much time on it. Now let's go to the next question, 2.1.2. State one characteristic of Old MacDonald's farm as a destination which suits his Bree's client profile. So we are going to look at the farm, and we try to measure the farm with her profile. So let's go back to the scenario. Let's go back to the scenario. So if you look at our tourist, she's actually a celebrity vlogger. Then she likes posting videos. So obviously, if you go back to the farm, there are so many things which match the client's profile. So the first thing which you need to look at, you need to look at the fact that there is beautiful scenery. Beautiful scenery. There are so many beautiful places on the destination which has been chosen. So there's beautiful scenery. Then you can also say open spaces. They are open spaces. Beautiful scenery and open spaces will be our two answers for 2.1.2. Now let's look at 2.1.3. Give two reasons why Bree chose to stay in an Airstream trailer. In an Airstream trailer. So why did she choose to stay in an Airstream trailer? Why did she choose to stay in that type of accommodation? Why did she choose to stay in an Airstream trailer? So we are going to come up with two reasons, which I'm going to list down. All right, since she's a vlogger, she enjoys things which are unique. So it is a unique type of accommodation. A unique type of accommodation. It's a type of accommodation which you don't come across on a daily basis. So at times, in order for your post to trend, try to do something in a unique way. So that is why it is why she chose to use that particular type of accommodation. It is a unique type of accommodation which can actually attract interest from different followers. The accommodation is unique, so that's reason number one. Then the second reason is that rooms are artist themed. Remember, she's into posting photos, so rooms are artist themed. You can choose your own theme. And remember, influencers or vloggers, they actually relate well with art. So rooms are artist themed. Then she's traveling alone. She does not require too much space. She does not require too much space. So she's traveling alone, which is actually good for her. So rooms are artistic. It's a unique type of accommodation. She does not require too much space. So an Airstream trailer would be appropriate for her. Now let's get to the calculation. Calculate the total cost of Bree's accommodation for 4 nights. So in order for us to calculate the total cost, we need to find out what is the cost of the room per night, or what is the cost of the caravan or of the trailer per night. So let's go back to our scenario. So the cost is here, is 1,895 per person. 1,895. We write our 1,895 per person. Then let's look at how many nights she's going to spend there. If you go back to the scenario, you'll find that she says, I will stay for 4 nights. So we are going to multiply this by 4. In this case, you make use of your calculator, then you write your final answer correct to 2 decimal places. So if you do this one using a calculator, you reach to a total of 7,580. That will be the total cost per night. So this will be our final answer. That will be the total cost per night for this type of accommodation. That is the total cost. Now let's go to the next question. The underlined words or phrases in the itinerary are incorrect, as it does not contain sufficient and relevant information. So we do have the underlined words which are there. We do have the underlined words which are there. Let's highlight them. The underlined words. The first one is wake up and have breakfast. And the second one is take photos to your in your room. So those are the two words which we need to correct. Rewrite entry 2 in Bray's itinerary. So we are going to rewrite entry 2. We are going to rewrite entry 2 in the correct column. All right. So wake up and have breakfast. So we need a better way of explaining that. So we can actually say day 2. Day 2. Day 2. Breakfast is served. On day 2, we have breakfast being served. The first activity is that breakfast is served. And normally breakfast is served from 6 to 10. So normally breakfast is served from 6 to 10. That is the first activity for the day. Then after breakfast, take photos in your room. After breakfast, say take photos immediately after breakfast. Take photos. Immediately after breakfast, you take photos in the room. Then in addition to that, you go to the second day. A 2-hour-long guided mountain hike starts at 1400 hours in the restaurant. So another option you can also, another option is on day 2 again. Take packed breakfast. Take packed. That's another option. You can take packed breakfast. On an early morning hike. So you can take packed breakfast on an early morning hike. So there are two options. Either you take your breakfast from your room, then you take photos in the room. Or you can take packed breakfast on an early morning hike. Or these are two options. Now let's go to 2.1.6, which reads, recommend one way in which Old MacDoodle's farm can improve their technology to meet requirements of Insta travelers. So in terms of technology, there are quite a number of things which can be done to improve the experience of instant travelers. So we are going to suggest one way then. So since she relies on the internet, so you can say to improve signal quality of the Wi-Fi. You can actually recommend to improve the signal quality of the Wi-Fi. Of internet. Then another option, unlimited Wi-Fi access. Unlimited Wi-Fi. Those are two options. You can either provide unlimited Wi-Fi or improve the signal strength of the internet. Why are we choosing these two answers? The reason why we are choosing these two answers is because since our client is an influencer, is actively involved in on the social media platforms, she needs to be connected to Wi-Fi, and also she needs a very, very good signal all the time. Then name one compulsory travel document Bria would require for your trip to Cape Town. As she is going to Cape Town from Spain, remember she's actually from Spain. So as she travels from Spain to Cape Town, she needs the basic document she needs is a what? Is a passport. So she needs a passport first. Then she also needs COVID test proof. She also needs proof of taking negative COVID test. Then also proof of vaccination to show that she has taken a vaccine. Of vaccination. She also needs to show proof of vaccination against COVID, COVID. So these are some of them documents which she is required to provide. She needs a passport. In addition to a passport, she needs a negative COVID test. So that should be in the form of something which is written, or a document which shows that she took a negative COVID test. So we have options. I'll rewrite them once more. Passport. And whenever you write passport, indicate valid, ne? Valid passport. Then COVID, negative COVID test. Then proof of vaccination. Of vaccination. Then the third question, the next question reads, Bray has specialized camera equipment that she wants to take to Cape Town. Give her information on how the airline would transport the equipment in the final destination. All right. So since she's going to use an airline, so you would want to know that camera equipment is actually fragile. So the airline will check in camera equipment. and label it as fragile. So the first thing, they will check in the camera equipment and label it as fragile. Then she will be allowed to carry the camera as hand luggage. To carry as hand luggage. She will be allowed to carry the camera as part of her hand luggage, which is allowed on the plane. All right, so these are the two ways she can actually use to carry her camera on board. Now, looking at 2.2, let's look at 2.2, where you are required to study the world time zone map and travel information, which will be given in the scenario which will follow. Study the world time zone map and the travel information given, and answer the questions which follow. Now, we do have an airline ticket which appears there. That is Emirates airline, outbound from Madrid to Cape Town. Then you are also given the date of departure, which actually appears there, the date of departure to the destination. It appears here. I would highlight it will depart on Wednesday. Then you are also given information regarding the seat number. Then the two destinations are listed there. Then the duration of the flight is also listed there. It's actually going to be an 11-hour flight. Time of departure, it's 3 p.m. Then the time of arrival, it's unknown. Okay. Then in terms of class, she's actually going to take economy class. Then the fare is written there. The fare of also business class is written there. Then first class, the price of first class also appeared there. So question 2.2.1, give the flight number. So what is needed there is the flight number. Give the flight number of the flight number of Breeze flight from Cape Town. So the flight number, it actually appears immediately below the dates. First, we have the name of the airline, then the date of departure. What were the changes? All right. Delegates from other parts of the world extended their stay. They extended their stay and visited neighboring countries. They extended their stay and visited neighboring countries. Then these countries they received exposure. They received exposure. Then explain two reasons why the youth was involved in COP26 through the Milan gathering in. Two reasons why the youth was involved in COP26 through the Milan gathering in September. The youth are decision makers. The youth are decision makers on climate change in the future. They are decision makers of climate change in the future. The youth may have fresh approaches to deal with climate change. They might have fresh approaches to deal with climate change. The 9.2 explain 2 reasons why the COVID-19 pandemic is regarded as the main reason for postponing the conference in 2020. 2 reasons why. There were travel restrictions. There were travel restrictions. There was lockdown. Gatherings banned. Gatherings were banned. The 9.2.2 explain 3 ways in which the organizers to ensure the protection of all delegates. Explain 3 ways in which the organizers had to ensure protection of all delegates against COVID-19. So hand washing, the basics. Social distancing. Wearing of masks. etc. All these are examples of how organizers to ensure protection of the delegates. Identify the type of technology of payment in all of the following pictures. Those are called electronic payments. Called electronic payments, online payments. All right, online payments or electronic payments, 9.3. One disadvantage of using needs good internet connectivity. It needs good internet connection. Can be affected by load shedding. By load shedding. It can be affected by load shedding. Then 9.3.3, apart from the technology in the pictures below, 2 ways in which people can buy goods and services. Other 2 methods of buying goods and services. You can use cash. You can use credit cards. You can actually use cash or you can use credit cards. Then study the information below and answer the questions that follow. We have picture A, B, C, D, E. Then we also have picture 2, which is a survey. Then as a manager of a hotel, select the level of customer certification from picture 1 you would like to see most often in the feedback from our guests. All right. So the correct answer there would be we do have E, and D. All right, so this actually shows that customers are happy. So we say D and E. Give one reason for your answer. It shows that customers are satisfied. It shows that customers are actually satisfied. That's why a manager would prefer that kind of feedback. Then refer to picture 2. Explain one way in which managers can use the feedback from customers to the advantage of the hotel to improve service or to maintain good service. To improve service, to maintain good service, or to identify problem areas. To identify problem areas. So that is why customer feedback is so important. So matriculants, basically we have gone through much of the paper. We've gone through most of the questions on the paper. Then just look forward to section where we'll be looking at time zones and time zones calculations. Time zones and time zones calculations will be handled another time. But basically, this is how tourism paper needs to be approached. It is a very, very significantly long paper, which needs more patience when you're approaching it. Take your time and also use the elimination method when you are choosing your multiple choice questions. So this brings us to the end of this discussion. Good day, candidates. Welcome to this session where we are going to look at the tourism paper. We are going to look basically at the paper which was written in May, June earlier this year. Then let me just take you through the instructions first. Let me take you through the instructions. So this paper actually is a very, very long paper. It consists of 30 pages. Then when it comes to the instructions and the informations, it actually consists of 5 sections. It consists of 5 sections and all questions are compulsory. It consists of 5 questions. Also pay attention to detail that all questions should be answered. You are not given the option of choosing specific questions. You must answer all questions. Then you must start each question on a new page that is straightforward. Then when it comes to calculations, questions which involve calculations, you are always reminded to present your answers correct to 2 decimal places. You must always bear that in mind. Then all steps used in calculations should be shown in detail. They should be shown in detail. Then you may use a non-programmable calculator, which is allowed. Then also stick to them, mark allocation for each specific question. Then you are reminded to write neatly and legibly. Then if we look at this table, it has breakdown of the topics which we are going to look at. Section 8 mainly consists of short questions, which make up to 40 marks. Then we also have map work and tour planning and foreign exchange together. Then we also have tourism, attractions, culture and heritage tourism, and marketing, where we'll be looking at world icons. We'll also look at world heritage sites which are found in South Africa. Section D, which is made up of 30 marks, it actually consists of our tourism sectors, sustainable and responsible tourism. Then the final topics will be found in section E, where you look at domestic, regional, and international tourism. Then you also look at communication and customer care. Then the total for this paper, the total mark allocation for this paper would be 200 marks. So in tourism, always bear in mind that you only write one paper, which consists of a total of 200 marks. Now let's move on to section A, which consists of short questions. Section A, the instruction reads, various options are provided as possible answers to the following questions. Choose the answer and write only the letter A up to D next to the question numbers. For example, 1.1 to 1.1.20 in the answer book. So let's go to the first question, 1.1.1. The tourism concepts which appear in an itinerary describing the image below. So in other words, they are asking for your own interpretation of the image which is below. What concept is represented in the image below? All right, as you can see, we do have an image of a person who is actually involved in mountain climbing, or you can call it hiking. He's actually involved in mountain climbing. So we consider that to be an activity. We consider that to be an activity. So our correct answer for that particular question will be D, which is an activity. Then moving from them, we go to question 1.1.2, whereby you are required to the difference between jet lag and jet fatigue. So you are supposed to distinguish between these two concepts. What is jet lag? What is jet fatigue? All right, let's look at jet lag first. Let me explain a little bit more on jet lag. Jet lag, you get it after traveling a long distance and you cross many time zones. So it involves the crossing of time zones. Then in addition to that, when you travel from west to east, when you travel from west to east, you get jet lag. Then on the other hand, let's explain what jet fatigue is. When you only travel long hours. So jet fatigue is caused by a situation whereby you fly for a long period of time. So let's look at our options which we have there. The option which best matches the descriptions given above is actually option B. Jet lag is tiredness due to crossing many time zones. When you travel from east to west or from west to east, you actually cross many time zones. And jet fatigue is actually tiredness, which results from a long-haul flight. So our correct answer, which matches the description given above, will be letter B. So letter B is the correct answer for that one. Now let's move on to 1.1.3. Tourists now have the benefit of obtaining their foreign currency through this online method. This topic, this question actually falls under the topic methods of payment. Methods of payment. As you all know that times are changing, even the payment methods are changing as technology changes. So there is now a new method of obtaining foreign currency online. So let's look at the options which are given. So on A, we do have Forex. It does not match what the question requires them. Then stock exchange is a completely different concept which is used in business studies. Then Bitcoin